Hey guys, so today, making a breakfast. I really wanted to do something doughy and delicious because who doesn't love a good non-healthy breakfast? You gotta have one of those. So I went through our recipes at home and I found this creme brulee French toast recipe. And I've had it before, my mom's made it before, my dad's made it before. It's so good. Doesn't need that many ingredients, and they're kind of household ingredients, except for maybe the bread and people who have orange juice at their house. I don't have orange juice at my house. We occasionally have it, but not a lot, so that's something that I'm just going to not have in the recipe, and that's okay. So what you're going to need a half cup of butter, 2/3 cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of maple syrup, and this is Mrs. Butterworth's, which is a syrup, and I don't know if we have maple syrup, and that's the closest thing, and it tastes kind of just like maple syrup. And then you're going to need 12 slices of challah bread, and challah is a Jewish bread, and you'd think I would have one, seeing as I'm Jewish, and we do, but we only have chocolate chip in the house right now, and that would be a little too sweet, so I did the next best thing, which is French brioche bread, which is pretty much the same consistency and same flavor as challah, just not the same thing. And so this is what it's going to look like, and pretty similar, like challah looks pretty much like this and tastes like that, so it's pretty dead on. And then you're going to need 6 eggs, and those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This recipe is meant to be really eggy because that's what French toast is all about. And then 1 cup of half and half, which is in my fridge, and I didn't want it to get too warm. And then you need 1/4 teaspoons of salt, which is what is holding up my phone, so we will be using that. And then 1/4 cup of orange juice. You can use that and cannot. I don't know how it'll affect the recipe, but I hope it'll be okay. 1/2 cup of sugar, and then it says strawberries and whipped cream for serving, but we don't need that. Oh, and you also need a 9 by 9 inch baking dish, and I have the next best thing, an 8 by 8 baking dish. And the nice thing about this is that this recipe calls for a lot, 12 slices of challah bread, that's a lot. And these pieces of bread are thick, and so I think 4 fit in here nicely, and so I think that's perfect for someone who's making it just for themselves, or maybe another person. And you also need a saucepan because we're going to be melting down the butter, brown sugar, and maple syrup, and then we're going to pour that in, so it's going to make it really good. Let's get started. Okay, I'm balancing my phone. Probably not very safe, but that's okay. Okay. So, we're going to turn on our saucepan. Oh, turn on the heat. And so, I'm going to unwrap the butter. And it calls for 1/2 cup of butter. And on the butter stick, it tells you how much a half cup is. And that's a full stick. So, it should be great. I'm just going to unfold this. And I have unsalted butter. And I would imagine, just because it says butter, you can use both, kinds. It doesn't really matter. I tried to find salted, but I couldn't. Okay, so we're gonna melt that butter down. Get a spatula. Help it melt. And then we're gonna add the brown sugar, and it's 2/3 cup of brown sugar. Brown sugar right here. And I don't know where our 2/3 cup went, so I'm gonna be using 1/3 cup and just do it twice. Measurements, am I right? Okay, that's 1 cup. 2 cups. And then it also calls for the maple syrup, and we're going to do 3 tablespoons of maple syrup using our Mrs. Butterworth's true delicacy. I can't get it open. One tablespoon. 2 tablespoons. And 3 tablespoons. tablespoons. Now we have our delicious mixture, and we're just gonna melt this down. And the recipe says, just mix it until the mixture becomes to a boil and turns brown like caramel. And then that's when we're going to turn off the dish and spread it all over the baking sheet, or the 8x10. So this is what it looks like so far. Butter's still melting, brown sugar's doing pretty good, so is the syrup. We're just gonna mix this, get a good consistency, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay guys, so we still have the butter to melt, but right now we've got brown, and the mixture is pretty much melted. That's good. It's starting to boil a little bit. I might turn it down in a second. Really just want that butter to melt fully, and then I think we'll be good. Okay, so now we have fully melted butter, and it is definitely brown, and it's coming to a little bit of a boil around the edges, but I'm waiting for bubbles in the middle, which is when I'm going to start. As you can tell, the butter's kind of separating from the mixture. I wonder if it'll combine to the mixture soon, or maybe not. Who knows? Okay, we now got bubbles all over, so I think I'm going to turn it off now and then add it to the pan. Here's the pan. We're going to add the sauce now. Ooh, it looks good. Come on, put the spatula on the spatula holder. I'll lift up. Just pour it in. Ooh, that looks good. I'm going to grab the spatula and get off the excess, but just stretch. I want to get off as much as we can. So this is probably not smart seeing as I'm doing this with my left hand, while holding the pan with my left hand, and I'm actually left-handed. Okay, well that's good enough. Looks really good. This is what it looks like. Nice consistency. And now the recipe says to trim off the crust and arrange it evenly over the caramel. So I want to keep my crust on because I live on the edge, right? I don't think that'll cause a problem. Here's my stack of bread. We're just gonna plop those in like so. One bread, two bread, three bread, four. Delicious. Okay, now we're gonna make the, I guess, wet mixture. And that's it. So we're gonna whisk the eggs, half and half, vanilla, salt, orange juice, and sugar. I have all those things except for the orange juice. If you do use it with the orange juice, let me know, because maybe it makes a different recipe. Not a different recipe, but a little bit different. And then once that's all whisked together, we're gonna pour it on top of the bread, and then we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes to let the liquid soak in, and then we're gonna bake for 35 minutes. Now it reminds me, I'm gonna turn on my oven to 350 so that it's ready to go when I'm ready to go. Okay, got all my ingredients right here. I'm just gonna move them over a bit because we have to put in the whisk. And remember, this calls for a whisk. And so some people might not have actual mixers. I have a mixer just because I'm at home, and I mean, some people might not have that in their house, and that's okay. This is what a whisk looks like. If you don't have one that attaches to a machine, then you can just use a handheld whisk. It's going to be a little bit more effort, but you'll still get the recipe done. Okay, so 6 eggs first. We're going to crack all of these. It'll be a good time. 1, 2. And when you're baking things, you go through eggs like it's nobody's business. And in my house, we have a lot of bakers, so we use so many eggs. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now all our eggs are in. Remember, wash your hands because we don't want any salmonella. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna wash my hands, wash them thoroughly because don't need that. Don't need any ickiness in your life. Okay, So we got all of our 6 eggs in. The recipe now calls for the half and half. And we are going to do 1 cup of half and half. You can also do whole milk because some people might not have half and half. Pour this. Okay. Pour that in. That's the sound of the oven. It's getting close to our required temperature. Okay, that was the half and half, and then we're gonna add the vanilla, and it's 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Oops, don't wanna twist that off. It comes off like this. And remember, guys, vanilla may smell good, sure as heck doesn't taste good. 1, 2, beautiful. Okay. And then we're also going to add the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That is also one here. 1/2. Be careful with salt, guys, because if it comes out in a generous amount, sometimes we don't want a generous amount. All right. There we go. And then we're going to add our 1/2 cup of sugar. Good. All right, and now we're gonna get mixing. And this is our mixer. We're gonna go slow first because we want it to be one consistent, all together thing. Bring up a bit. It's pretty all together. I'm gonna go just turn up a little bit. Okay, so we have our mixture right here. I'm just gonna pour it generously over everything. I want it to be soaked. Some of the bread's gonna rise. That's okay. I'll probably push that one back under with our handy dandy spatula. Oh, look, all the bread. Okay, so now all of our bread's kind of floating, and it's 12:35 on the dot right now. So we're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes, which is a good thing because the oven is at 350. Okay, so we're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes. Then we're gonna go put it in the oven, and I believe it stays in there for 10 to 15 minutes, or 5 to 10. Okay, guys, it is 12:45. It's been 10 minutes, and now, oh, just kidding, we're gonna bake for 35 minutes. Oh, I just dropped the recipe. Okay, so I'm gonna open the oven, heat it up to 350 carefully. Okay, set a timer. 3500. Start. Okay. See you guys in 35 minutes. Okay, guys, it's been 35 minutes. The French toast is all done. We're about to take it out. That's the timer. Turn that off. Okay. This is the moment of truth. Hope it's good. Sure smells good. Okay. This is the final product. A bit eggy, you know. I think that also because I used like 4 pieces of bread instead of my bad. Instead of like the 12 that was required. I think that that might have an effect on the 6 eggs that I used, but I think it'll be delicious and probably a bit more eggy than some French toast. That's okay. You know, this is about trying new things, and I'm just gonna test it with a poker. Yeah, okay, good. So I'm gonna have some, and I hope it's delicious.